Get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies, Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
The 18th annual Coastal Equipment Gooan Open is underway here at Hidden Hills, and all those wonderful people that are involved in this are out there on the tournament, or on the course, I should say, playing in today's tournament, and we are in the air conditioning.
Yeah,
so
it's nice.
I'm enjoying the Hidden Hills banquet room, and I hope they're having a blast out there on the course. But welcome back, Taylor.
Thank you. I told you when I walked in, I was like, I'm kind of sunned, heated out for a little while, but I can't complain about this, though. And it's I kind of was like, oh, man, I'm going to be back outside. But the Googan's fun every year, and actually, this last year was the first year. Our show had just started, and we had the Googan right after that. Previous years, I was always stuck back at the studio, so I am glad that I get to be out here now, enjoying it and kind of meeting everybody. It's always a good time.
I just loved how Taylor Dahl walks onto the course and everyone else is sweating, and she just goes, I've been at
nothing.
I've been at Rockville the last 4 days. This is nothing. And everyone else is like drenched in sweat. I hugged Don from Taco Lou, and he's like, don't even come near me. I'm 3 holes in, and I'm already drenched through my shirt. So, look, God bless you, Taylor. Were most people wearing more like jeans?
Nothing.
Okay. Bathing suit?
Okay, it was a combination.
Curious,
I will tell you that there are some interesting outfits that you'll see out there. There's some that I truly don't know how people make it through the day, like full-on suit someone was wearing, like a kind of funky, it was like had like pumpkins on the top, but like hardcore little rock signs on the bottom, but a suit. And I'm like, it is so hot. And I was just wearing shorts and like a crop tank top, and I'm sweating, and I know people wearing that type of stuff. But some people commit to the bit. There was a guy dressed like Patrick from SpongeBob. He was commit to the bit. There's just people that do it. Props to them, because there's no way. It is scorching hot out there, but it was a great time, and I found a place that you would enjoy out there, Lauren. They call it the Dive Bar.
Okay.
And so at first I didn't know what it was. I had never seen it before. I don't know if it's like a newer feature or what, but when they built it, it's like a pop-up dive bar. So when you walk in, there's karaoke going. You have your own bar inside. There's tables. There's like lounge areas. It's air conditioned. It's like dimmed, so it looks like a dive bar, like low lighting and stuff like that. And so we went in there several times because it was a little bit of escape from the madness and the heat on the outside.
Sounds like mangoes, but Rockville version. I would like it. You're absolutely right about that. All right, so Mia and I got to weigh in on the Jaguars schedule last week. By the way, Mia, are you experiencing the FOMO that I had last week? Jaguars are on the practice, and I again don't get to be out there. You were able to be out there for rookie minicamp, but they're out on the field right now, and you don't get to be there. Do you have FOMO?
No.
I have it again.
No, I'm leaving at 1 o'clock too, so I'll be out there for like 5 minutes of practice, but we are excited to bring you tons of one-on-one interviews following practice. No, OTAs are all about putting yourself in the right position, learning the playbook, simply moving around. I don't want to call it a glorified walkthrough, but that's largely what it is, or at least what I anticipate OTA number 1 especially being. So, no FOMO.
Okay.
I'm chilling. I'm excited to be here at the Googan, but also excited to sweat some more and get out there a little bit later today.
I want to see Trevor Lawrence complete a pass to Travis Hunter, because I don't think anyone has seen it yet, except maybe the Jaguars social team, because it looks like they put out a quick picture this morning of a ball going from Trevor to Travis, but that'll be fun to see.
Was it completed?
We don't know, because it was a still shot. So I would imagine it was.
So we don't know if
anybody's
anybody's seen a completed pass.
But yeah, the people that are out there today, all those reporters, hopefully we'll get to see a lot of those, and then way more when the regular season begins as well. All right, so Mia and I weighed in on the schedule. Your thoughts? The beginning, I think, is difficult, but the back half seems like if this team is any good whatsoever, they'll be able to make hay while the sun shines.
Yeah, and that's kind of the vibe. I honestly feel like the schedule's kind of easy overall. I know that obviously the Bengals, but the Bengals, I feel like every year start slow, and it's a conversation we have every single year where you're like, oh, the Bengals are 2-5. How are they going to get out of this? And then they manage to do it. And so I do think that getting the Bengals at the top of the schedule is probably beneficial, because for whatever reason, it takes them a little bit of time to get going. And then the Panthers, I think, is a very winnable game. The Texans, I think there's a lot of questions of how quickly C.J. Stroud, or if C.J. Stroud does get to what we had seen previously. They don't have Tank Dell, so you are kind of counting on a rookie wide receiver and Christian Kirk now to come in and be able to perform pretty quickly. Kansas City, that's always going to be a tough matchup no matter what. I think it is beneficial that it's at home, but it does feel a little bit of a trick that it's the primetime one, because it does feel like it's going to be like, oh, here's Kansas City's like kind of comeback story from last year, the way things ended. Seattle, I think, is a winnable game, and I think obviously the LA one's fun, but we know how the Jags can play well, and they're used to those London games, so it does benefit them in that aspect. So I do think as the opponents seem a little bit tough, but I do think because of the way that it's lined up and because of the spot that the Jags are getting these teams, I do think it's beneficial for that first half of the schedule. And one thing, I've spoke on this a lot, I don't know if I absolutely love the Jags roster right now. I think the trenches still, in my opinion, needs some help. I think that the secondary has a lot to prove. You are counting on Travis Hunter to come out here and be an impact right away on both sides of the ball pretty much. And then you have, are you going to get that run game going? How quickly is Trevor going to get out there? He missed time last year, so how quickly is everything going to kind of mesh with all of his people gone? And so I don't love the roster, but what I do love, me picking a 10-7 record, to me shows a testament to how much I love the coaching, how much I think the coaching is an improvement from last year. And I haven't even seen anything yet, but hopefully, if it doesn't go up from here, it's really bad. But I think that there were so many issues last year that came down to coaching, to Ryan Nielsen, to Doug Peterson, to Press Taylor. Just so many coaching decisions affected a lot of games that the Jags probably should have won, or at least been more competitive in some of the blowouts. And so things like that, I think, do benefit the team this year. I also don't think the schedule is that difficult, honestly.
Okay, so low bar to clear, but you are like many here in the city of Jacksonville, Taylor Dahl, many at the Miller Electric Center who believe that simply by changing the coaching, changing the messaging, that already is a 2-3 win improvement.
Yeah, and that's I feel like that is the biggest
Doesn't
thing
even
for
matter
me.
how the games are laid out. It's just quite simply you have coaches that are invested, want to be here, and have open and honest conversations, and therefore
with all of them.
It's a 2-3 win improvement.
And coaches that are already talking about things like Trevor's mechanics we've been talking about on our show for a while, about how we felt like things were regressing for Trevor mechanically and in the pocket, and things that when he's running away from kind of fake pressures and things like that. To me, Liam Cohen identifying that automatically gets you a few more wins, because being able to take some of the pressure off of Trevor Lawrence, I think when we've made that Justin Herbert comparison a lot of what Jim Harbaugh did for Justin Herbert, and how maybe he didn't have these astronomical numbers, but he was more comfortable and he was able to be efficient. He didn't turn the ball over a lot. And I do see a world where Liam Cohen, that is kind of the focus with him and Trevor. And that alone, to me, wins 3 extra games compared to last year.
Yeah, Liam Cohen, we've already seen, I think, the impact that he's had in as far as the offensive line, right? Like I'm going to give a lot of credit to Tony Baselli for the offensive line as well, of course, and James Gladstone. But I think a lot of it was Liam Cohen, based off of what the Bucs were able to do last season. And everyone wants to talk about Baker's improvement, absolutely. But they also had a good offensive line to protect him. They also had a really good run game.
Yeah.
Those types of things will greatly help your quarterback. And I love the picture that the Jaguars social shared of Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence walking next to each other. Like, their relationship is so incredibly important. And I don't know, Mia, going back to last season, and Trevor would never speak, negatively about anybody, but I don't know if we were to ask Trevor, did you have a great relationship with Press Taylor? Like, I don't know what the answer would be if we were able to get him to answer honestly.
Could say who?
I think Press is calling for us.
We're on to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. Yeah, I don't think you'll ever get the full transparent answer on that one.
I don't think so,
I don't think we ever will.
But I feel like we watched enough to know that the offense wasn't efficient, and
there was disconnects.
Right. It sure didn't
obviously.
seem like they were using their best player, which is Brian Thomas Jr. early in the season. And so, to me, there was clearly a disconnect, and now Liam Cohen, I think, comes in with that fresh set of eyes, too. And so, if the offensive line isn't better, I will be shocked going into the season.
Yeah, and I do think that is part of, maybe we hadn't even talked about enough. We talked about the fresh eyes side of it, but also someone who has been and seen this team on the other side a lot. And so I do think that's beneficial in the sense of Liam Cohen's been able to watch Trevor Lawrence, and Liam Cohen and James Gladstone have been able to watch Trevor Lawrence from afar and be able to analyze. And that's why pretty much right away he said there's some things mechanically we have to work on, because he was kind of stepped outside the box. And when you have that unbiased opinion of a team, even as a reporter, sometimes you have to be able to do that. Even though you love the team, sometimes you have to be a little honest, and people get mad at you because they say you're a Debbie Downer. But if you don't do that, if you're just always like sunshine and rainbows, what happened last year is what happens.
I read a really good story with regards to leadership this morning. Owner of one of the most famous restaurants in New York, takes his entire staff to one of the most famous restaurants in Paris. And yes, the thought process is see what they do well and certainly try to learn and emulate from that. But more importantly, he wanted them to identify where do they fall short? What are the issues here? Even in the most perfect of situations, where is there still an area for growth?
Yeah.
Identify that and then focus on how you can improve. And so thankfully, if you're Liam Cohen, for the sake of finding areas of growth, there was a lot of that to choose from. You don't have to really try to like find a needle in a haystack.
It's like
from
a
season
CVS
ago.
receipt of.
But that's where you're coming at it, not from this. Oh, look, everything's great, and we just have to make it better. You actually come at it from a perspective of okay, we're going to identify what went wrong. We're going to fix that first, and then we're also simultaneously going to uplift what was correct and what did work.
But I think some people, Taylor, would say sunshine and rainbows is 10 wins. Like to go from 4 wins to 10 wins when you're not as high on the quarterback as maybe some. So, and you obviously have discussed the offensive line issues, the safety room, the cornerback room, so the secondary as a whole. But still going from 4 wins to 10 wins is a great trajectory.
Well, I didn't get to ask you, Taylor, when you wrote down 10-7 or when you went game by game, did you realize you were going to end up with 10-7? Or
no,
right.
I just went. I did not even.
Because that's how I felt. I went into it thinking I'm going to come out with 8-9.
Yeah,
and I came out with 10-7.
I know. At the end of it, I honestly was like, if this is 11 or 12, I'm redoing it because there's no way I'm picking them to win 11, 12 games. But even the last 2 years, I had 9 wins, and I think I had like 6 wins the year before that. So I'm not the person that has been the like, oh, they're on paper they can do everything and da-da-da. So to me, having that 10-7 record, like I said, I think a testament to the coaching, but some of it is the schedule for me. I do think this is a very winnable, doable schedule if things even go kind of close to what you want them to do. And I do think, to your point, Mia, when you're talking about that, when it comes to the quote you just read, and I think that part of that too, when we go back and we look at what Gladstone came in and did, he wasn't just like, okay, this is a good roster, it just needs better coaching. He overhauled a lot of the pieces of it too. So I do think it was a combination where he was like, there's pieces on this roster that we do think we can develop and make better players and bring the best out of. But there was a lot of people on this roster that they felt weren't worth being here. And I do think that also, I appreciate that. I appreciate coming in and being like, we have no ties to some of these people. I'm trying to build a winning product here for the future. And I do think that Gladstone went full steam ahead on that, which I appreciate, because some GMs may have come in and been like, oh, like this team won 9 games and we're in the playoffs a couple years ago. Let me just polish some of these and we'll be okay. He didn't see it that way.
Yeah, there's a massive difference between what Trent Baalke saw in his talent evaluation and what James Gladstone has seen in his talent evaluation. And we all hope that comes to fruition in the first year under Liam Cohen. If they don't win, I would say 9+ games, that doesn't mean that this regime isn't going to be successful long term. It means that they had to build even farther and build more than what we anticipated, right?
Now, what you missed last week, we had a conversation, did we not, Lauren?
We did.
Where I said to Lauren, what number of wins is acceptable for you? What is the threshold?
Minimum?
Minimum.
Yeah.
What is the threshold? And you said?
I said they have to win at least 7.
She said they have to win at least 7. What say you?
I was about to say 7. 7, I would be, and that's funny coming from a team that just only won 4 games. But I do think that shows kind of the confidence in the additions from this offseason, but also just that relationship between Cohen and Trevor to me. And I think that is the massive thing. And I've been one of the people that say Trevor still has a lot to prove to me personally. And I know there's other people out there who say the same thing. I know there's other people that are like, no, he's done enough. He just didn't have enough around him. I personally think that Trevor still needs to prove stuff to me to show that he's a true franchise, really good quarterback. I think he can be a good quarterback, but to win consistently in the NFL, you need to be a little bit ahead of that. And I do think that this year is huge for that, because I do think they have invested in the offensive line to help them. You bring a coach in that does focus on you also the run game in general. When you add running backs and you're adding them to an already pretty full running back room, now you're building all of this around him, and you've got a new defensive coach who is this guy who did a lot in Green Bay, and you're running out of excuses now. So to me, that's why that 7 would be, if it wasn't at least 7, I would be probably pretty disappointed.
Well, the division's not great. That's the key. I mean,
that's 6 games right there that you should technically win. You're not going to win all 6, but you should win the majority of them.
You should have a winning record in the division.
Yeah.
And if again, it really all goes back to Trevor.
Yep.
If Trevor is a top 10 quarterback, this team, the sky is the limit. And yes, there's other teams that are better than the Jaguars, even if Trevor's a top 10 quarterback, that are built, right? That their GM has been in place longer. And teams like the Chiefs and the Bills and the Ravens, like none of them are going through rebuilds. Like the Bengals, I would almost put outside of those three teams, the Bills, the Ravens, and the Chiefs, as far as their perennially, their offense and defense, special teams too, but offense and defense are really good.
Yeah.
The
And the
Bengals
Eagles
have struggled, obviously, at whether Joe Burrow gets hurt. Offensively, they've struggled, or the
defensively,
defense.
they've just sucked.
Really, right, exactly. And so I would put the Bengals almost outside of this. Plus, we know they have cheap owners. But those other three teams, like, that's who you're chasing in the AFC. And that's not even getting to the NFC. That's just in the AFC. And so Trevor has to be a top 10 quarterback for this team to realize the dreams that it has. But you also now are giving him the full complement of weapons, the full complement of coaches. And Grant Udinski, we're going to hear from him after the OTA today. The offensive coordinator, even though he's not going to call plays, I think he plays a crucial role too. And so, to me, if they don't win 7 games, if it's fewer than 7, then I think we just have to start talking about do they need to figure out a different quarterback?
Yeah.
Like that, to me, we'll see how it goes. It's possible, I suppose, that Trevor plays really well and they win fewer than 7, but with that schedule, I don't know about that. All right, let's get it to golf on the other side. Scottie Scheffler won the PGA Championship. You're listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday. You can find them online at WeKeepJacksRollin.com. They've got 5 locations around Jacksonville, and they've been in business for over 60 years. I will be there at some point either this week or next week, get my oil changed and some other stuff done on my car. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Bring the sports bar to the middle of your workday.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
Joe C., Matt Hayes, and Leon Searcy.
They're here.
Where? XL Prime Time. Afternoons 2 to 4 on 1010XL.
Maxed out on credit card, struggling with high interest debt? You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. That's Loan Pronto. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is an A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call now and start the conversation. Go to loanpronto.com or call 999-1508. That's loanpronto.com.
Mia here for Closets by Design. It's been a few months since they built my custom closet, and you know how much I love it. Plus, my whole family and the whole 1010XL crew are obsessed. With summer here, why not finally create that custom garage workspace you want? Think tool storage, workbenches, flooring, a place for everything to go. Closets by Design creates custom solutions for every space, lifestyle, and budget. So yes, that does include all you guys. Call to schedule your free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off. Closets by Design at 1-800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
A chipped windshield can turn into a big problem fast. Lauren Brooks here. Trust Novus Glass of Jacksonville for expert repair and replacement. Call 904-289-2905 for Novus Glass in Orange Park. 904-289-2905.
It's Work Zone Awareness Week, Florida. Every year, lives are lost in work zones because of speeding and distractions. When you see orange cones, remember, slow down, follow the signs, and stay focused. Workers are counting on you to get home safely, and so are their families. Let's work together to prevent crashes and save lives. A safety reminder from the Florida Department of Transportation. Slow your roll. Safety's the goal.
Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
Are you an experienced chiller technician and looking for a role where your skills are truly valued? It's time to make the move to Local 234, plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians. You'll get top pay, comprehensive health and welfare benefits for your family, and a pension that doesn't come out of your pocket. Join the team that's got your back. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to send your resume today.
Equal opportunity employer. Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods. From now until May 28th, we're holding our big diamond sale, and now's the best time to buy a quality diamond of a carat or more. Here are a few reasons. First, there's severe upward pressure on rough diamonds, with 4 price increases already this year. Most of this has yet to hit the polished market, so they're diamonds for sale at the old prices. Next, our diamond cutters asked us to house their inventories of existing big diamonds so we could sell them here prior to them being offered to the jewelry trade in Las Vegas. This allows us the ability to sell from their vast stock at brokerage prices you have to see to believe. All of these diamonds are graded for cut, color, and clarity with independent laboratory grading reports. Now, along with this vast collection of big diamonds, we put all of our own meticulously selected loose diamonds and engagement-style rings on sale at prices from 3% to 25% off. We also take trade-ins, but remember, this sale ends May 28th at Underwood San Marco, Avondale, and the Shops of Ponte Vedra.
Teach your birdies to sing with Dan, Jeff, and PGA pros on Brunch with the Tour. Teed up by Clearwater Irrigation and Apex Roofing and Contracting. Brunch provided by Chick-fil-A. 8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at Goosehead.com.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
You'll always feel good when you send someone a Kuhn Flowers, floral, or plant arrangement. This is Max Fink with 1010XL, and no matter what the reason, Kuhn Flowers has always come through for me. Order online at kuhnflowers.com.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
I try to keep it inside. Every time I try to say it out loud, it never comes out right. So I lie and try to push it down, 'cause I could be spinning you around now. Say I'm not trying to.
This is one of the bands you saw at Rockville, Taylor?
This is the one I was telling Mike Dempsey about. They're called Bill Murray, but it's Bilmuri. Very, very fun band, but just like very dancey, very vibey. I was telling you a little bit off air some of the story. The singer used to be in a band called Attack back in the day, which was more of kind of like a metalcore band. And he went through a lot of stuff, and he shared his story on stage. So I guess he tried to commit suicide or attempted. It was a failed attempt. So then he kind of restarted a bunch of things, started a new band, his own world. So it was like kind of a cool story, but this is his baby. And you could tell he was just so happy on stage seeing this crowd. It was a huge crowd. And the people I was with weren't expecting that. They were like, this is a new band. I don't know how many people are going to be here. And I turned around and it was just packed. And they were very, very fun. So if you need some new music, Bill Murray is a fun one to go to.
I like it. Dylan, had you ever heard of them?
Never.
I had not.
They don't play that on the West Side.
Hey, I got to tell you, Dylan, I did see a kangaroo on my way to Hidden Hills this morning. Shout out. They do exist, even up here on the north-ish side, if you may.
Yeah, I think this is considered East Arlington. So according to Jordan DeLugo, he said Travis Hunter just made a sick catch, two-handed extension. So good things are happening as far as him playing as receiver so far. And then one other quick piece of news, Nick Sirianni, the Eagles head coach, gets a multi-year extension, going from on the hot seat to now a Super Bowl champion and multi-year extension.
Look how quickly that happens.
It all can change quickly is right. Speaking of changing quickly, so Scottie Scheffler struggled, I would say, to start this year. And then in the past year has certainly, or in the past, I would say even just a few months, has picked it up a notch. And yesterday, watching him tie with Rahm at one point in time at the turn yesterday, of course, you have the storylines of PGA Tour versus LIV. Mm-hmm. You also have the storylines of American versus Spaniard. That has nothing to do with LIV and PGA Tour. And then I think you just have the storyline of Rahm is and certainly more when we watched him a lot, he is one of the most emotional golfers. Like, you can see exactly how he's feeling on the course. And Scottie Scheffler, I think, is the opposite of that most of the time. Not saying he never shows emotion.
Not on 18 green, he was not.
But, I mean, like, when he's playing, you're not going to see the highs and lows coming from Scottie. And he struggled. Scottie did a little bit yesterday to start. And then all of a sudden, you kind of, or at least I kind of felt like, now he knows, like, all he has to do is play his golf game. Like, literally, he doesn't have to do anything outside of himself. And he's going to win this tournament by multiple shots. And that's what he did, winning by 5. And Rahm ended up just 4 under as Scottie finished at 11 under.
I mean, yeah, you can make the argument that he held on and allowed for Jon Rahm to absolutely implode the bogey, then the double bogey. He puts it in the drink and just absolutely collapsed. I would argue you actually saw a happy Jon Rahm or more optimistic Jon Rahm. And if anything, that's where I wonder if we go back to the odds going into the weekend. We were stunned to see Jon Rahm among the top 5 odds getters. Of course, our friend Gary Smits at the Times-Union said that's in large part to the horse for the course, this idea of, hey, you need to be able to drive when it comes to Quail Hollow. Any of those heavy hitters are going to be big favorites. So maybe that part wasn't a surprise, but certainly the mental fortitude and the mental toughness, and I know Dan and Jeff talked about it on the drill this morning, that's the part of Scottie Scheffler's game where he just doesn't feel anything. Mm-hmm. It's not too high or not too low. That is where, whether it's Jon Rahm, whether it's Bryson DeChambeau, we'll go to the tour. We'll say the Rory McIlroys of the world. Certainly the Swede Noren absolutely collapsed yesterday.
Yeah, Harris English was one of the ones, noted Jaguars fan, was one of the ones playing really well.
And then what happened? They see him lurking up the leaderboard. He is, Dylan, do you have like Jaws music or something? Because that is honestly what Scottie Scheffler is when it comes to the weekend. As soon as you hit the weekend and you see him just simply lurking, if you are a golfer, I can only imagine, especially at Augusta National, where you look up and you see the physical leaderboard and you just slowly see him moving up. Yeah. It is literally cue the Jaws music because here comes Scottie Scheffler again. And to have the mental fortitude to hang on, there it is. Scottie. Here we go. Scottie. He's literally, is that not what it is, Taylor Doll?
Definitely. And that's what I think that when you watch him, it reminds me a little bit when you're saying you don't see a ton of the emotion during. At the end, you'll see it. You'll see flashes sometimes throughout. It reminds me a little bit of Trevor in that sense, where Trevor, I feel like, is always pretty even-toned.
Trevor Lawrence, not Trevor Lemmerman.
Yeah. And then every now and then, though, you'll see that spark where something just, like, fired him up a little bit extra, or he'll chirp back at somebody, or at the end of the game, he'll go a little crazy. And so it reminds me of him in that sense, where he can kind of stay at the level he needs to for the most of the time. And with this one too, we're talking about, he joked about the getting arrested one last year, and then this one he starts off with like his driver he had the issues with the rules in this tournament, and he was upset about that. And it almost feels like anytime there's something extra that Scheffler has to go through, he like plays with an extra notch of competitiveness. It's wild to watch.
Outside of last year when he got arrested, and then he did shoot a 5 under that day, but then obviously faded over the weekend, probably because the adrenaline finally wore off. Yeah. Not the case so much this year.
Jail time might do that.
Elite promotion by Nike to immediately have that one ready. Guilty. The verdict is in. Just cinema, absolute cinema. Well done, Nike.
Yeah, my 2 favorite tweets about the arrest. Jason Sobel tweeted, Scottie Scheffler 2024 PGA locked up. Scottie Scheffler 2025 PGA locked in.
Yeah.
And then
Well
the other
said.
one, and I don't remember who tweeted it. I don't think it was like a reporter, but Officer Gillis should present the Wanamaker Trophy because that's the officer that arrested him. I found that to be really funny. So Bennett Scheffler is, of course, the 1-year-old who, by the way, when I was watching, as Scottie was walking off with Meredith, his wife, and Bennett is totally teething, and I just wanted someone to get like a little teething toy out of the freezer for him to chew on. I'm like, this kid, you can tell like those teeth are coming in. But so in the year of Bennett Scheffler's life, he's seen his dad win the Memorial, the Travelers, an Olympic gold medal, the Tour Championship, the CJ Cup, and the PGA Championship, because Scottie is now halfway to completing the career Grand Slam. And then watching Scottie with his dad, I thought that was really special yesterday too. His dad telling him, I'm so proud of you and I'm so glad you never gave up.
Yeah, I love those moments. And that's one of the things that I read that stood out too. And it was a quote from an article, and it said, in an era of giants, virtually every major winner in the 2020s is a multiple major winner. And talking about Scheffler is standing the tallest of all of them. That is a lot of competition that you're facing week in and week out, and especially in these majors when you also have these live guys coming over and you have somebody like a Bryson DeChambeau staring at you that really wants it also. And so very badly. And so I do think that when we look at these 2020s, these last 5 years and all of the wins that we've seen, I didn't realize it in that sense, but you are watching a lot of the best right now win over and over again. And then he just pops up. Every time you kind of feel like, all right, is the Scheffler story over? It's not over.
Well, he's fully healthy. I think that's a
big thing.
Yeah, that speaks volumes.
After the pasta
After
debacle.
the pasta incident.
The pasta debacle.
You mentioned Rory. Were y'all watching Amanda Balionis?
Oh, of course I
interviewed
was.
Bryson DeChambeau?
I did not know.
Okay,
yeah.
so
The
Balionis,
shade was elite, Taylor.
Yeah, so I literally was like, Brian, did she say what I think she just said? I was like, can you rewind that for me just to double check? I want to hear this. So she talks to DeChambeau, who's like, yeah, I got a little unlucky out there on the golf course. And I'm thinking, like, I don't think you got unlucky. You lost to the greatest in the world. And that's what's going to happen. That's what happened when Tiger was on the course. I'm not saying Scottie Scheffler's Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
But of anyone right now that has ever trended towards it, it's not Jordan Spieth. It's not Rory McIlroy. It might be Scottie Scheffler. But either way. So she's like, okay, thank you for taking the time, Bryson. I know you don't have to. Not everyone does. So Rory McIlroy very obviously did not speak to media after any round this past weekend. And the media really wanted to ask him about his driver. He wasn't allowed to use his driver.
Yeah.
And so there was, obviously a lot of conversation about, well, when we talk to Rory, we'll ask him that. I don't think Rory helped himself in the public eye by not speaking to media. Yeah. You don't have to, like she said, you don't have to. But also because of the fact that Amanda at some point in time was linked with Rory and having potentially an affair.
Oh, yeah.
Her saying that to Bryson, like not everyone has to take the time, was like oh boy.
Well, it wasn't just her. I mean, there were tons of reporters on site at Quail Hollow who were like, what the heck? And another one from Jason Sobel here from SiriusXM and CBS Sports. Last year at Pebble Beach, following Rory's pre-tournament press conference, he stood with a group of reporters for 45 minutes and spoke about the need for tour players to be more accessible.
Oh, no.
Right.
Was he the one?
That's part of the problem.
Was it Rory, too, that a year or two ago, like stormed off right after and people got upset? Okay.
Correct.
So that's definitely a Rory thing. Like when he doesn't play well, the frustration bleeds
But
out.
everyone else needs to
talk
That's
to
the problem.
everybody.
You can't
pick and
speak out of
choose.
both sides
And
of your
this
mouth.
is where the Rory haters come from because he's the teacher's pet who's going to hold everyone else accountable to the rules until he actually has to look in the mirror and face the music himself.
I don't think of Rory as a teacher's pet in that sense.
Oh, I do.
I don't think. I think.
Again, it's the Coach K. It's the Coach K of, hey, kids, you got to do your job. It's that sort of thing.
Until you're mad. And
right,
you don't
until
want
you're
to.
mad, until you're the one who's in the wrong, and then you don't want to take accountability for your actions.
Yeah, I guess
Is this
personality-wise, I've never thought of Rory in that sense. Like, to me, he became the face of the PGA Tour when all the live stuff happened. But before that, I never thought of him as, like, the guy that always followed the rules and things like that.
No, he didn't follow the rules. He was getting into beach bars in Jack's Beach when he was 19 years old.
Exactly.
But he was the golden child. He was, this is the next guy. This is the next guy. We have to hold him up to this high standard, and everyone wants to you have to bow down to Rory until he started losing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it took on a different life of its own.
Do you think that because he kind of became that voice of the tour when that split happened, that this stuff stands out more? Like some of these comments and stuff when or him storming off stands out more.
Yeah. Look, I think if you want to be someone who is going to ask other people to go speak to press, or, right after your round, if you would think other people should do that, then you need to do it. And you don't have to do it after every round.
Yeah.
you might say some things you don't want to say if when you're 3 over, but at least once in the span of 4 days, I think you should have to
speak to somebody.
Right. Answer some questions.
Here's the rest of that Sobel tweet. Tiger never went 4 tournament days without speaking afterward. He knew that was his responsibility as a face of the game. Rory knows it too. In fact, Rory has said it himself.
Right. Yeah. I wonder how many other guys are in that category of guys that don't want to speak to media and completely eschew that responsibility for, like you said, 4 whole days. As far as all our golfers go, Victor Hovland and Xander Schauffele tied at 1 under. Unfortunately for me, Justin Thomas didn't make the
Smitter,
cut.
it's the last time I take any of your expertise. I'm just kidding. He did nice shouts for Harris English and Corey Connors from Smitter.
Yeah, Corey Connors finished 2 under, and then like we mentioned earlier, Harris English was alongside Bryson DeChambeau and Davis Riley, who all finished at 6 under. Rahm, I feel like, yes, he did seem happier, but I wonder where his career is headed at this point in time. Bryson, I think, is going to be fine. Like, he seems to be near the top of the leaderboard for a lot of the majors.
Yeah.
Brooks Koepka, by the way, did you see how far he's fallen off?
There was also a photo of
he also didn't make the cut. He was 9 over.
Yeah, there was a photo of him at a convenience store in the Charlotte area with like a 6-pack of beer.
He's like, I'm done.
So,
you know who he should hang out with? Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
He's also going to be drinking a lot of beer now that his
exactly. No,
over.
I think Jon Rahm's fine. I honestly think this was a step in the right direction because after the injuries over the last year and a half where he basically fell off the face of the earth, the fact that we're even talking about him the Monday after the PGA Championship.
Because he shot 9 over.
Right, well, no, that's
talking
Brooks.
about
I'm talking about Jon Rahm. No, I'm talking about Jon Rahm. No, Brooks Koepka.
Brooks finished with Phil Mickelson, both 9 over and didn't make the cut.
That's a different story. Not even going to get into that. No.
So what was Rahm's finish?
Jon
4
Rahm
under.
was 4 under.
Okay.
But that was after he shot, 5 over on Sunday?
Yeah.
I mean, he was 9 under at the turn.
Yeah.
So
he's getting healthy now, finally.
Right. And I think we're going to hear from Rahm again this year. I wouldn't be surprised if you hear from him at the U.S. or the British Open.
Rahm was 2 over yesterday alone.
Oh, really? It was only 2?
Yeah.
I mean, this dude, Taylor, he imploded on the back 9, and you could tell. But to that same point, Lauren, we're so used to him having this fiery exterior. Well, yes, it was fiery. It wasn't like he was flinging things or angry.
Yeah, because he has $400 million in the bank, and he never has to worry again about making a cut.
Even then, there was the tee shot, I want to say it was on 12 or 13, and he knew there was a chance it was going to bounce the wrong way, but even then he still had a smile on his face. You never used to see that. And so I think
therapy.
Right, therapy.
and a lot of money.
And also reality and the perspective of he hasn't competed at a top major level. Yes, part of it is because he went to live. Part of it is also because he was hurt. He hasn't been in the conversation at the majors for over 18 months. And now he's back. And I think he appreciated the fact that he was even in contention for a championship on Sunday.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see. I probably disagree that I think this was more of a one-off for Jon Rahm. But certainly if he's able to play like he did this past weekend consistently, then we'll have more of a fun conversation with Jon Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau from LIV, competing with the guys like Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler. By the way, Scottie just doesn't even have to play that well. That's the bottom line.
No, well, and then that's the best part is when they're both tied at 9 under, you're like, okay, maybe Scottie's got to turn up the heat a little. And he did because then he birdied 10. And he looked much more dialed in. But the reality was, and again, you couldn't have predicted that Rahm would have put it in the water and would have fallen apart. But he just had to just be him and just cruise control and let everybody else fall apart.
The moments he really needs it. On 14 when you're just there it is. This is the Scheffler.
Whatever, this is him. And now we've got 4 holes to play and the race is over. The tournament's over.
When Scheffler won and then he threw his hat and then screamed a cuss word. Yeah, I was like, now that is what is going to get some of those American people that are golf fans but haven't always been Scottie Scheffler fans because they think he's boring. That's going to get them to root for him.
There'll be shirts with that. They have his arrest.
Yes, right.
What's it called?
The mugshot.
His mugshot shirt. Now maybe we'll get the him throwing his hat down shirt.
I love it. All right, there's Florida men's basketball news that we want to discuss on the other side, and perfect timing because Big Pat Young just rolled in the building. Also, a little bit of NBA or WNBA, I should say, drama over the weekend. We'll get to that all on the other side on a Big Chief Tire Monday live from Hidden Hills and the 18th annual Coastal Equipment Googan Golf Tournament.
What are you doing down there? I'm just looking for
1010XL. Jacksonville Sports Radio.
The joys of home ownership. Until the plumbing backs up, the AC goes out, or your septic system decides to act up. The good news? You don't have to call 3 different companies when things go wrong. Just call my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. They're your one-stop shop for plumbing, septic, and air conditioning, all under one roof. So whether it's a leak, a clog, or your system just won't cool, they've got you covered too. Don't take my word for it. Check out their 5-star reviews on Google. From the moment you call to the moment the tech solves your issue, you will receive first-class service every step of the way. Give them a ring at 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. One call does it all.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
It's a Helmets and Heels Big Chief Tire Monday.
DUI, BUI, don't stress. Call me Malcolm Anthony at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW for Malcolm Anthony.
It's May, and that means it's Founders Month here at Sonny's Barbecue. Every Wednesday, we're celebrating with $7 pork big deal served with a sidekick and a drink, or one of our pork and rib combos for just $11. It's our way of saying thanks for letting us be your local pitmasters. So stop in for great deals on the Q you crave. Founders Month specials at Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
What does your dream backyard look like? Hey, it's Joe C. and my friends at CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living can design an outdoor kitchen layout custom built to your taste and lifestyle. You dream it, they can build it. CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. Visit cssoutdoor.com.
Hacker here, taking you back exactly 1 year this week. I was only 9 weeks into Awaken 180 and had already dropped 54 pounds. Seriously, that's like shedding a first grader in just over 2 months. That's wild, right? Fast forward to today, 2 months into my maintenance, and I'm still down over 115 pounds. Not a pound put back on. It's like Awaken 180 gave my weight a permanent eviction notice. Now listen up. We all want to have goals, but sometimes they seem to be far-fetched. This one won't be. Dropping 40 pounds by the 4th with Awaken 180. It's doable when you have a proven program with an excellent coach by your side. Weekly weight loss, enjoying the ride, and reaching your goal. We all did it. No reason you can't. Set your goal, make the call, and reach 40 by the 4th with the solution for weight loss. Online at awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800.
This Day in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On May 19, 2019, at the PGA Championship at Bethpage State Park, defending champion Brooks Koepka leads wire-to-wire, winning his 4th major championship.
Are you ready to reclaim your backyard? Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, Surfside Pools is the trusted name for expert pool design. Family owned and operated, they offer pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools transform your backyard into the oasis that you crave. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, where luxury meets leisure.
License number CPC 044080.
ET here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
St. Johns County parents, does your kid have energy to burn? Want them to play a sport for their middle school? Sign up today for the St. John's Middle School Athletic Association. Tackle football, dance, and cheerleading. Who doesn't want their kid to be the next NFL quarterback or dance floor diva? You know how fast your kid can go from playing Xbox to practicing their touchdown dance or sideline cheer? Visit sjmsaa.org. sjmsaa.org.
Spring has sprung, and so have the bugs. It's Hayes Carline and my friends at Kingfish Pest Control offer an exclusive $99 spring special. That's right, your initial pest control service is just $99. And if you call today, they'll include a free one-time mosquito treatment. Kingfish Pest Control is family-owned, 5-star rated with no binding contracts, and 100% satisfaction guarantee. Call them now to book your service. Only at Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Mia O'Brien is here. Taylor Dahl is here. Dylan Denmark filling in for RJ Saunders back at 1010XL headquarters, making it all happen. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Big Chief Tire Monday. And there's never a bad day for some reggae music. All right, let's get it to Florida men's basketball. It was announced today that Ruben Chinyelu will return to Florida for his junior season after withdrawing from the NBA draft. The center, of course, is going to be a huge player on this team. We still don't know about Alex Condon and what his plans will be. But, Mia, it is a busy week for Todd Golden as the national champions will host Arkansas transfer Boogie Flan today and tomorrow for a 48-hour visit. And then they'll visit the White House on Wednesday.
Yeah, in case you missed it last Friday, Lauren and I went down the detective rabbit hole of exactly will Boogie Flan, the former Arkansas standout guard, come to the University of Florida, has withdrawn his name from the NBA. Florida is his first and potentially only visit. There have been a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of just scoops out there. I said it on Friday, and I stand by it, that I believe Jeff Goodman is as connected as anybody in college basketball and is certainly as connected as anybody to Todd Golden. And the fact that he has been among the first to, just keep dropping these little hints of, look at who represents one Boogie Flan. Maybe it's someone who previously went to Florida. Maybe the fact that he hasn't scheduled any other visits as of right now suggests that he is going to be headed to the University of Florida and teaming up with Xavier Lee to once again have one of the best backcourts in the game of college basketball, despite the fact that Florida lost 3, arguably all SEC, certainly Walter Clayton and All-American performers in their backcourt.
Yeah, pretty good coaching history if Boogie Flan joins the Gators.
Yeah.
Going from John Calipari at Arkansas to then Todd Golden at Florida. Look, I think obviously Florida needs him, to your point, Mia. And after Denzel Aberdeen departed and went to Kentucky, you have a clear hole at that position. And even if Denzel had stayed, I still wonder if Todd Golden would be interested in Boogie Flan. Why wouldn't you be?
Yeah, no. And again, this is a team that last year, look, their front court was all you needed to look at to say, hey, you can never have enough good players. And that's something we've argued about with the Jacksonville Jaguars, too. Like when it comes to the running back room and everyone who wants to put Travis Etienne on trade watch, I want to believe that much like Todd Golden and how he brought in all that talent a season ago and said, look, maybe you're not going to play 35 minutes a game, but that's okay because you're going to win a national title.
Right.
It's that same vibe of, hey, you never know with injuries, you never know with availability if you're going to be at full strength, so you might as well stock the cupboard as much as possible.
Absolutely. By the way, Florida will play host to UNF to start both of their seasons, or at least I assume that's the start of UNF season. I know for sure it's the start of Florida's on November 6th.
I want to ask you this because you guys will be more familiar. When I was reading about Boogie Flan, he was hurt towards the end of the regular season, then came back for the tournament. But each of the rounds of the tournament, like his minutes, decreased each round. Was that just because of the amount of player, because that's why I'm also reading that he wants to go to Florida. He feels like he'd be more of a centerpiece in Florida than he would be able to be in Arkansas.
That's correct. And also part of it with Arkansas was Boogie Flan was far from the only player who was hurt. Trayvon Brazile was also hurt. Obviously, he's a front court player. But point being, that was a really banged up roster. And as has been well documented, certainly their season flipped on its head when John Calipari and the Razorbacks went back to Kentucky and they upset Mark Pope and the Cats. But at the same time, that was also a pivotal moment because that's when they started getting players back who were injured.
Okay.
And so Boogie Flan was just part of a wave of, okay, now we got this guy back, but we've got to tinker and try this rotation. We got this guy back. Let's try this lineup instead. And so ultimately, when you're in a tournament setting and you're going to ride with the hot hand or the hot lineup, he wasn't part of that lineup that was resulting in wins and in the most production. And look, again, that's a team that also has had its fair share of, graduation, the portal, maybe not as much as when John Calipari stood at the podium this time a year ago and said, I spoke to the team, there is no team, because everyone was in the portal.
Very Deion Sanders-esque in the sense of I told them, basically all to leave and I'm going to bring in new guys.
Yeah, so it's not quite that. So that's the good news. They have a lot of pieces that are back. And Boogie Flan is a former McDonald's All-American and 5-star who believes he should be the central point of an offense. And that's what I'm curious to bring this conversation full circle, Lauren. Is he going to be okay if Todd Golden develops his young true freshman, if he brings along some of these high school traditional recruits and maybe they start pushing for minutes? Thomas Haug is obviously going to be more of the 3. He'll be more of a wing, a 3-and-D player for you. But if he is going to get some minutes, let's say, opposite Xavion Lee, is Boogie Fland okay not playing 30-plus minutes a game? I think he is, because I think he wants to win. But to your point, Taylor, you could make the argument that
that's why he's leaving.
The reason he's leaving Arkansas is because he wanted a more featured role.
I think the culture for Florida basketball right now is healthier than the culture for Arkansas basketball. And I think that plus the NIL dollars, there's more to go around in Gainesville right now. And I think at the end of the day, you saw what this Florida team did strength and conditioning wise last year to get to where they were able to win the national championship. I think that's another bonus. Like, how do you become the most successful in the NBA you possibly can? Well, you are the best trained athlete. You're put in the great system for you, and you're able to play around guys that are, I think, also going to play in the NBA, and that is a guy, and eventually Thomas Haug. All right, before you leave, Mia, because you got to depart for Jaguars OTA #1 down at the Miller Electric Center, the Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese beef. Obviously, the WNBA schedule knew to put that game first. And then all the drama surrounding it because of the fact that Caitlin Clark fouls Angel Reese, and then it's upgraded to a flagrant 1, and all the melee that ensued. Is that good for this sport? Is it good that that's what people are talking about?
Because we're in Jacksonville, Florida, and we're talking about it in the first hour of our show. Yes, it's healthy. I think what's even more fascinating for me is, and I've even discussed this with our good friend Dimitri Ravanos, who helps produce the women's basketball podcast that I'm a part of. Now people are saying, well, Caitlin Clark is actually the villain, and she's okay with being the villain. I disagree with that sentiment, but I think she's okay with being the one that perhaps has to, how do I say this politely? Like she has no issue, right? Like if she has to get under somebody's skin.
Yeah.
I think she has no issue doing that. That dates back to just some of the fun, poking fun and in jest comments that you've heard her make throughout the course of her college and now professional career. But Angel Reese has literally stood at a podium and has said, I'm okay being the villain.
Right.
Ultimately,
I mean, was it a flagrant 1 foul, do you think?
It wasn't, but you don't want to know what else no one's talking about?
The shove, but
the shove
right before.
Right.
I was like,
the
Angel
shove.
Reese shoved,
right, Angel Reese shoved her, but then also Caitlin walked away. And part of that was Aaliyah Boston and Lexi Hull sprinted in and got in the way, but Caitlin walked away. And so that's why, then Aaliyah Boston was assessed a technical foul for trying to break up a
and she
break up a
didn't
fight.
know until after the game when the media asked her about
she's at the podium and she's like, what do you mean I got teed up? Because of course the rule in the WNBA is once you have 7 technical fouls, you have to serve a suspension. Yeah. So that's part of why everyone's looking at Caitlin and they're like, you gotta get it together this year, girl. We can't afford to lose you for any extended period of time. But it was a basketball play. And that's no bias. Watch men's, women's. The reality is you would rather take your chance at putting that player at the free throw line. Oh, which, by the way, Angel Reese is not all that good of a free throw shooter. So you'd rather foul her. Wasn't that hard? I mean, she tried to slap the ball out of her hands, if anything. She wasn't even trying to slap Angel on the arm or the wrist. Yeah. You put her at the line as opposed to giving up an easy layup, and those 2 points could come back to haunt you if this game gets close later on. And so in terms of the actual play, I don't think it was a flagrant. I think that ultimately anytime
it was a flop, I know that.
Yeah, anytime Caitlin and Angel get together, I think the refs just say, all right,
add a little extra.
We've got to officiate
seasoning
this
to
as if it's our lives, and we have to literally any contact whatsoever. We need to officiate it. But now this investigation by the W, because Angel Reese reportedly told Chicago Sky officials that she felt like the crowd at Indiana was making derogatory comments towards her.
She heard racist comments.
Yes, she heard racist comments.
Okay.
There's no video so far. There's no audio. This didn't come up until 24 hours later. And I'm not saying she very well could have. But ultimately, why is this coming out 24 plus hours after a game has finished is interesting to me. So whether that's the part of the W and poor PR, or if it's the Chicago Sky and Angel Reese being delayed in reporting this, that's a bit surprising to me. So that's number one. Maybe it shouldn't be. That's number one. And then number two, again, it just goes back to Angel Reese, kind of like we were talking about with Rory McIlroy, this idea of if you're going to sit there and you're going to say these things, then you got to be able to take it too.
Yeah.
She is constantly talking about how she has all this negativity around her and she needs to just let these barbs be thrown and let them bounce off of her and deflect, and she can't listen to the outside noise. And what is she doing?
Yeah.
Like every opportunity to say, this person's trying to drag me down, this person's hating on me. Like, and look, there is no space in sports for that sort of racist, harmful language. I want that to be clear.
Yeah.
But this is not the first time that we have now had to go down this road.
Yeah, I think their rivalry is incredibly good for the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people were actually watching this game live when all of it happened. I think a lot of people saw the highlights on the videos on social media, and then they start to react. So it is different for someone like Mia, who's watched every second of the game live. I've always said, like, you can't talk about it the same way if you're not watching it live. If you're only watching highlights, you're missing part of what's going on. And so people are only focused on this one video. So I think the rivalry is good. The racist divide that's happening because of the two of them, that I don't like when it comes to that sport.
And
it doesn't deserve to be
that
there.
side of it. Yeah, and that's the rivalry is good. The problem is Angel Reese isn't really good.
There it is. There it is. That's her Chicago sports. By the way, a lot of Heeligans texted in and said the same exact thing.
She's just not. And like
She's
everybody's
a bully
like
on
her rebounds, and I'm like, okay, she has to rebound her own shot because she can't make anything.
Thank you, Taylor.
And it's honestly starting to get to the point where Chicago fans, and I have a lot of they'll watch a little bit, honestly. I have a lot of family and friends up there that will watch the games, and they're like, she's just not good. This is like saying, like, if Patrick Mahomes had a rivalry with Mitchell Trubisky right now, like, who would really, like, in the NFL world, that's a comparison because it's two totally different level players. The thing is, this is going from college, so this is lingering now into the WNBA, which is adding to it.
We need a new rivalry.
Right.
We need somebody
versus
good.
Paige Becker.
No, but Caitlin and Paige are like, well, maybe that'll emerge, but like, I mean, even,
and I mean on the floor. I don't care about the
no. But like, even like that's kind of like in the folklore, like that is kind of a rivalry because there's this argument being made right now of everyone is so quick to praise Paige as the number one overall pick, but a year ago that would not be the case with Caitlin in terms of the mainstream and especially the in the weeds W media. But that's a story for another time.
Triple double, by the way, for people who missed it, for Caitlin Clark. And Dave Portnoy made $350,000.
He bet $35,000 and he made like $350K.
Yeah. Why aren't I doing that?
I mean, look,
I guess it's because I don't have $35,000 to bet initially.
She also like has more triple doubles than anyone in the first year in a game in their career in the history of the W, 25 plus years. But I digress. To back to Taylor's point, because the Heeligans are lighting up the text line and they are agreeing with you. Angel Reese's stat line from Saturday's 93-58 Indiana win. 5 of 14 from the floor.
Ouch.
17 boards, 12 points, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, which was the one trip, which was after this foul. If you want an NBA comp, that was a great NFL comp. If you want an NBA comp, she is Ben Wallace. Mm-hmm. Ben Wallace never averaged more than 12 points per game in a season. That's great that he averaged.
Angel's Ben
Yes,
Wallace.
Angel's Ben Wallace. And if you want another comp, and we love Dennis Rodman, but imagine saying, we're going to take Dennis Rodman, who does all the little things in the margins, the rebounding, the hustle plays, but that's going to be the face of our franchise, and the scoring and everything is going to go through, the game will be played through Dennis Rodman. Mm-hmm. And Dennis Rodman himself would probably tell you, no,
I don't want the game to run.
He needed Scottie Pippen. He needed Michael Jordan to reach his full potential. He needed that scorer opposite him. And that's the crazy part with the construction of the Sky roster, because they have leaned all the way into Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso, who, by the way, was 3 of 9 from the floor on Saturday. So neither actually give you all that much on offense. They combined for 19 points. Maybe Haley Van Lith.
That's what I was about to say. HVL, maybe.
Well, she got 4 minutes, and she was 2 of 2 in 4 minutes with 4 points. So.
All right, my group chat real quick. My group chat, that Chicago group chat, literally put in there yesterday, and it was just a low light reel of Angel Reese already from the season.
It's just, Yeah, and look, again, I understand. I'm checking my bias too. And also, by
It's
the
not
way,
just you.
I love Full Court Press. I love Flau'jae Johnson. If you haven't watched this season on ESPN, you should. I never thought I'd say it. It makes Kim Mulkey likable. This has nothing to do with LSU. It has nothing to do with Angel. It's just the reality of the situation. It's just the reality of the situation that it's Patrick Mahomes and Mitchell Trubisky, and we're out here debating about it across the country.
All right, Mia, we got to send you off. What can we look forward to?
Yes, I have a one-on-one with Hunter Long, new tight end for your Jaguars, coming up after practice today. Tyson Campbell will be joined by one Hayes Carlyon, so we've got a whole heck of a lot coming on the 1010XL Jaguars YouTube channel.
All right, perfect. We've got more to do on the other side. Taylor and I do live here at the 18th Annual Coastal Equipment Googan Golf Tournament at Hidden Hills. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
From Duval to the world,
all communication lines are clear.
Download the 1010XL apps for free on Apple and Android devices and listen wherever life takes you.
The Summer Starts Here sales event is back, and it's packed with hot summer savings going on now at Arlington Toyota. Mia here. Why does Northeast Florida buy from Arlington? Because Arlington is the place to go for big selection. I'm talking over 800 vehicles, one location, and everyday low, low prices. Over 350 SUVs, over 175 trucks, over 275 cars, and my friends at Arlington tell me there's more on the way. Plus 60-day exchange. It's simple. If you don't like your purchase, come on back to Arlington within 60 days and exchange it for another one. You even get Arlington's lifetime warranty with your new purchase. Why buy from Arlington? Because during Summer Starts Here, you can get financing as low as 0% on select new Toyota models. 0% and no payments until January 2026. Shop Summer Starts Here at Arlington Toyota. In person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter mile east of 295. Or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars. Make them your AC partner with honest cost estimates before they start the work with no hidden fees. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC.
Plumbing problems? AC not blowing? Septic tank doing whatever septic tanks do? Don't call 3 different companies and play contractor roulette. Just call Duck Rooter. Waddle over to duckduckrooter.com. When you're stuck, call the Duck.
Skilled trade jobs are booming, so begin your high-pay, high-demand career today through the Northeast Florida Builders Association. Their apprenticeship program provides paid training in some of the most highly sought-after skilled trades. Get paid while you train, full-time, in carpentry, electrical, HVAC, or plumbing. Plus, earn a 10% raise every year, and the classes are 100% tuition-free. Start your new career today and apply this week at nefpaapprenticeship.org.
It's the perfect day. You're just driving along, listening to your favorite music, the windows down. There's a cool breeze. Life is good. But wait, hold on a second. You're not wearing a seatbelt? You'd better put that on before that... Uh-oh, too late. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement, so you'd better buckle up or you will get caught. Sorry to ruin your day. Click it or ticket.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Helmets and heels.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday. The local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
John Haney here for Clearwater. And I know I'm always joking around, but this is a serious time for our coach and our team. So if you need a sprinkler system, a French drain, or seamless gutters, and you live in Duval County, then give us a call today.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage too.
Duval.
ClearwaterJags.com.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
Interested in a unique date night? Gibby here. I took my wife Nikki to Wick a Candle Bar. She made her own custom candle right there in the store. Shop local at Wick a Candle Bar. Locations in San Marco and Jacks Beach.
You'll always feel good when you send someone a Kuhn Flowers floral or plant arrangement. This is JJ with 1010XL, and no matter what the reason, Kuhn Flowers has always come through for me. Order online at KuhnFlowers.com.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
With 50 years of fabrication expertise in towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Need cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash, and they're ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. And gold market prices are at a record high. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
Ackerman Cancer Center is celebrating a major milestone this month, treating their 3,000th patient with cutting-edge proton therapy. For excellence in cancer screening, diagnosis, and treatment, trust Ackerman Cancer Center. Learn more at ackermancancercenter.com.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter. Panthers head coach Paul Maurice had an amazing game plan for last night's Game 7 victory as the Panthers dominated the Leafs 6-1 to get back to the Eastern Conference Finals for the third consecutive season. Here's Coach Maurice talking about the pure emotion of a Game 7 and how the puck went the Panthers' way throughout the series.
The emotion, the build-up to the games, that's the truth, right? We scored a goal, and then we got those two, and it's just a puck to the net. It's not so much closer than you think, but you're going to kill these guys, and they don't deserve it. That's 7 games, and we played well. We played well in the 2 losses. We played well in Game 6 and got beat. That's how tight it is.
It's 91 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Mia is headed down to the Miller Electric Center for Jaguars OTA #1 organized training activity. That's what OTA means. Taylor Dahl is here. Dylan DeMark back at 1010XL headquarters, making it all happen. I'm Lauren Brooks, and it is the 18th annual Googan Open presented by Coastal Equipment. And certainly thanks to Jack O'Brien, the Googan commissioner, for all the work that he does, and hope everyone has a blast out there on the course. The good news, Taylor, does look like it's breezy now. Like maybe the wind's picked up
There's a little bit. I didn't have my microphone down.
I was like, I'm pretty sure your mic is on.
I'm trying to get out of vacation mode here.
A couple tweets from Jamal St. Cyr from News4Jax, who covers the Jaguars closely. And if ever you follow him on social, you know that every practice he's got a ton of tweets about or posts about the Jaguars. So he earlier tweeted out that Trevor Lawrence was handing it off to rookie running back Bashal Tutin, and that ended up in a fumble. I don't know if it was Trevor's fault or Bashal's fault, but Josh Hines Allen picked up the fumble, and he thinks would have scored a touchdown if it was a real game. Obviously, they're just doing practice with 11 and 11. So that made me a little nervous. And then I see Jamal's other tweet that says also during 11 on 11, Trevor Lawrence pass intercepted by Darnell Savage, 2 receivers in the area, and it went straight to Savage. Now, let me calm people down who are panicking, who haven't read these on social and are just hearing us say them. In OTAs or in training camp, they're trying to put people into situations, especially quarterbacks, into situations where they have to make quick decisions and they want to see if they'll make mistakes, right? I'm not saying that Trevor should be absolved if this was, in fact, a badly missed throw. I don't know. I'm not there. But I would say don't panic yet. On the flip side, though, you don't want to read fumble and then interception in OTAs when they're not tackling anyone.
Yeah, definitely not. And the fumble thing is going to be a massive focus because we've already talked about the issues this last season with Trevor, with Etienne, with Tank, and then now you drafted a guy who had a lot of fumbles in college football too. So I do think that when this is going to have to be a major focus, so maybe this is something that they are kind of setting up in a sense of getting those fumble situations kind of sorted out because this is that is an issue. And I think that when we talk about Trevor and some of the interceptions, some are on Trevor, some are not on Trevor. We can go back and forth with all of that.
Yeah,
but
Kellen
the thing
Ridley used to run the wrong route.
Yeah, there was a lot of problems, but I do think when it comes, a lot of people, the fumbles stand out more than anything when it comes to Trevor, because those are ones that have been directly correlated to some of the things he's done, not holding the ball right or being a little too loosey-goosey when it comes to running in certain areas or not feeling the pressure behind him, whatever the case may be. And then now you have 3 backs, too, who have had issues with fumbling the football. So this is going to be something that I think is going to be a concern until it's not a concern, personally.
John Wolford, one of the backup quarterbacks, had a pass intercepted by Ventrell Miller. Jamal says, nice play by Ventrell.
Good job.
Again, it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah. I'm like, good job, Ventrell.
Right. Good Ventrell. Good job on Darnell Savage,
yeah.
right? Good job by Josh Hines-Allen being aware there defensively. I will be shocked if the Jaguars defense is not better than the last 2 years. I will be absolutely shocked. I've said I'll also be surprised if the offensive line isn't improved, but there's so much newness there that it's really hard for me to decipher. The Jaguars defense, there's a few new pieces for sure, especially in that secondary, but for the most part along that defensive front, like it's a lot of the same guys. Some of the linebackers are the same. I feel like Anthony Campanelli and what he is going to do is going to drastically change this defense. I will be literally shocked if they're not better.
Yeah, I don't know how you could get much worse is the problem, because, I mean, statistically in almost every category, they were one of the worst, other than maybe that full sack number, but then you also know those sacks were coming from 2 players. And so outside of that, outside of Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker, there was a lot of issues. And this came with, when you look at every category, when it comes to pressures, when it comes to the run stop, when it comes to yards allowed, when it comes to touchdowns allowed, when it comes to red zone, the red zone percentage. Once teams were getting into the red zone, they were pretty much just guaranteed to score. Things like that, where the Jags sat at the bottom of almost every single statistical category. So you would hope, like, if it doesn't get better, then there's some massive issues. And I do think that Ryan Nielsen was an issue last year. I think he came in here with this certain mindset of how the defense was going to be able to be ran, and he didn't quite have the personnel to do that, and didn't know how to pivot, didn't know how to adjust throughout the season to make the players that were on the field fit with what he wanted to do. I do think that now, in addition to adding some pieces that they feel like are going to, like a Jordan Lewis, and being able to move Jarian, we'll see exactly what that secondary looks like in general, but putting Eric Armstead back to where Eric Armstead should actually be playing, and adding some of this pass rush from the interior and stuff like that, I do think that opens up a lot more opportunities for some of these guys. And then I do think a guy like Ventrell, we already saw those steps being taken last year, and I would expect another step from Ventrell Miller this year. I really like him. Yeah, and that's a big thing. Like the health in general, that's always going to be one of these guys have to stay healthy. But that's something that you have to have faith in, and the coaching staff and the training and all of that they'll be able to have these guys out there and not have to deal with issues where Tyson Campbell's missing chunks of the season again.
So on Friday afternoon, another quarterback got paid, as we saw Brock Purdy sign his contract extension. And reading more into what Albert Breer tweeted about with the behind the scenes of how the deal got done, there were, I guess, sticking points on each side. And so the 49ers camp didn't want to make Brock Purdy the highest paid quarterback of all time. That was important to them.
Understandable.
They didn't want to make him and set records with his deal. But on the flip side, the Purdy camp really wanted a good chunk of guaranteed money.
Yeah.
And so as it turns out, he gets that in the first 3 years, he gets $55 million a year. In the first, I know, it's crazy. I'm always wondering, like, will this ever come down for quarterbacks? I don't know. But so he gets the $265 million total extension, $181 million in total guarantees. And look, I think it's important to understand he gets 62% of his money in the first 3 years, and that tops the cash flow in most of the richer quarterback contracts done. He also got a no trade clause, which was originally off the table, but his team fought for that, and that's a first for the 49ers. I think it's a win-win, and it's easy for me to say that because I think Brock Purdy is better than what a lot of people say as far as, oh, well, he's just on this really good team and he's in Kyle Shanahan's system. I also think he's a really good quarterback. And most people, I think, don't acknowledge that because of the fact that there are all those weapons. But you still have to be accurate with the football to get the ball to those weapons.
Yeah, and I think that it's hard. I think we will start seeing more this year of what is Brock Purdy and how much were other things. Because I do think the couple years ago that what Christian McCaffrey had a one of his best career seasons in the NFL, and pretty much everybody stayed healthy that year, and they had everything kind of just felt like it was flowing in a really good direction when it comes offensively. And then last year things kind of fell apart. And so when you go from those two extremes, when you have everything working in your favor and you have all of this help and all of the weapons that you need and everyone's staying healthy, and then you go to a season where no one's staying healthy and you lose all of your weapons and you're having guys sit out and arguing about their contracts and not wanting to play 100%, and there's all of these things that factor in, that is going to lie somewhere in the middle this year. You're not going to have, not saying I can't predict that nobody's going to get hurt on that team, obviously, but they were very banged up, at least like probably by week 10 last year. And so if you can meet that in the middle, this will give you a really good view of who Brock Purdy is. But I do think we've been able to see that in glimpses of how he can perform under like high pressure situations. We've seen him perform really well in that, and we've seen him be able to, even last year when things were kind of falling apart, he still had moments where you're like, it's there. When you go from the tip top of everything to completely plummeting off a cliff, there's a middle ground somewhere for that.
I think Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts kind of are similar in that regard of people didn't think they were worth the value. But Brock Purdy has been to back-to-back conference championship appearances. And he's been to the Super Bowl, and he's been a Pro Bowl guy. And last year, to your point, yes, the stats weren't as good as 2023 when he had over 4,200 yards, 31 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and almost a 70% completion percentage. But he still was almost 66% completion percentage, 3,800 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. When people say game manager and they want to use that phrase, as we've talked about on this show, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing in the NFL these days. It's a wonderful thing if you have a great play caller and you have a bunch of weapons. I would love for that to be the story a year from now when we're at the 19th annual Googan and people say, well, Trevor only got better because the Jaguars added Liam Cohen, who's a much better play caller, and they added after adding Brian Thomas, they added Travis Hunter, and they drafted Basil Tootin. He was really good, and LaKen Allen, all these things. I would love for that to be the conversation.
Like they have so many, it makes it easy on Trevor. Great,
sure, the offensive.
Your job is not to make the quarterback's job harder. It should be to make it a little bit easier.
And are there quarterbacks that can do everything for their teams and elevate? Of course, there are,
but very few of them.
Josh Allen comes to mind.
Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are probably the two right now. I would maybe throw Joe Burrow in that because I do think we've talked about all statistically everything that went wrong for the Bengals last year. But he does have two of the best wide receivers in the league, and they've been, for the most part, pretty healthy throughout their careers too. So he hasn't had a time where he's had to deal without that. He's had times where he's dealt with really bad running back rooms, really bad offensive lines, and really bad defenses, and is still able to do what he does. So I'd maybe throw him in that category, but there's not many that you'd be able to say can take their team over that massive hump when things start to go very wrong with injuries and everything that kind of starts piling up.
Right. I don't think Lamar Jackson should be faulted the fact that they added Derrick Henry and the Ravens. Right? Like if Jalen Hurts with all those weapons, like that's a smart decision by the GM, and you don't want your quarterback to have to do everything, because we saw when Josh Allen was asked to do so many things there with the Bills, that's when he had way too many turnovers. Interceptions and fumbles. And so when you start to help out the quarterback by guys that can take some of the load off, then you can start to see the quarterback, I think, especially with a guy like Trevor Lawrence, accelerate that deep ball, right? Like when he can trust his offensive line, that deep ball comes. Well, as soon as you have the threat of the deep ball, that opens up so many other things, and then you can run the football better. Or it can be vice versa. If you're running the football, then the deep shot is also available because they're stacking or they're trying to stack the box. I just think I feel like these almost polarizing type quarterbacks, not off the field, just on the field. Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence. People don't think that they're that good, and it's almost like they don't understand how difficult the job is to begin with. But I do think now that we've seen Jalen Hurts win a Super Bowl, if Brock Purdy can win a Super Bowl, if Trevor Lawrence can win the AFC Championship game, the view of those quarterbacks changes. That's absolutely what we've seen with the Eagles.
And that's what, when you look at the average year, I was just glancing at it because Dak Prescott has the highest average year.
Yes.
His is 60.
His camp, Dak Prescott's camp, made sure that he got the highest.
He was going to get the highest, and so it's Dak. Below that is Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. But after that, it's Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence and Tua Tagovailoa and Jared Goff. And so that's a mix of guys that I think you would put Brock Purdy right in with now.
And talk about polarizing quarterbacks. Tua Tagovailoa is absolutely, and again, not off the field, but on the field as far as what people believe and the status of his health. Jordan Love, we could almost put in that category.
I would definitely.
There's the top 5 guys, and then after that, it's there's
mesh of
there's
still kind of question.
Right. And Jared Goff, I think most people would probably take Jared Goff over Brock Purdy. Over Trevor Lawrence. I don't know about Jalen Hurts. I don't know who. Probably with the rushing ability too, maybe and now that he has the Super Bowl, people would maybe put Jalen Hurts above. But Jared Goff is a guy that was basically left for dead in Los Angeles, and now look what's happened. All right, I'll give you our Terminix Pest of the Day on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels. It's always a Big Chief Tire Monday. You can find them online at WeKeepJacksRollin.com if you need tires, brake services, wheel alignments, oil changes. They do it all. It's 10 to Next on 92.5 FM.
When you pull on that jersey, you represent yourself and your teammates. And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back.
1010XL.
Get that through your head. Again.
1010XL.
It's May, and that means it's Founders Month here at Sonny's Barbecue. Every Wednesday, we're celebrating with $7 pork big deals served with a sidekick and a drink, or one of our pork and rib combos for just $11. It's our way of saying thanks for letting us be your local pitmasters. So stop in for great deals on the Q you crave. Founders Month specials at Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
Lauren Brooks here. It's the Cruise in the Summer event at Hodges Mazda at the Avenues. For a limited time, get up to $5,000 off a new 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred and receive a free 5-day cruise for 2 with your purchase. With off-road capability and this special offer, your summer adventure starts now. Hurry, 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred models are in limited supply at Hodges Mazda. Offer valid on new 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred only. MSRP $32,564. Must trade in a vehicle and finance your dealer to qualify for discount. Cruise and vehicle availability limited. Travel taxes and fees additional. See dealer for details.
When it comes to your utility bill, JEA wants to help you use less so you can save more. We offer a variety of free programs, like efficiency and irrigation assessments that'll teach you ways to conserve energy and water around your home. Our alerts will let you know when your utility usage has reached a set amount, and our rebates can help you save when upgrading to more efficient appliances and equipment. Find even more ways to save at JEA.com.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy-efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World,
simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
Hey, Hicken here. So much of what makes us a family takes place in our homes. That's where Zero Res comes in. I love Zero Res, and this month get Zero Res applied from Jacksonville's #1 carpet and air duct cleaner with May Mayhem. A 3-room special starting at $149, plus the 4th room is free. You owe it to yourself and your family to breathe healthy, happy, and clean. Call Zero Res 28757 or go online at ZeroResJacksonville.com and say you want the Hicken special. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night, wondering how you got so behind? Hey, I'm Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. I get it. Life is expensive now. Insurance, groceries, cars. And then there's the credit card debt with those obscene interest rates. It's time to regain your financial freedom. And that's what we offer at Loan Pronto, using the power of the equity in your home. We have multiple ways to get you the cash you need, and most clients close in 2 weeks or less, and many don't even require an appraisal. And listen, rates have been plummeting recently. We just locked a homeowner in with an APR in the low 5s, saving her over $1,000 per month, and put $10,000 in her pocket. Life-changing money. Whether you're drowning in debt, have a nosebleed rate you got last year, need home improvements, or simply need cash in your pocket, we can help you accomplish this goal in record time. Call us today and get started with no hard credit pull, just a conversation. LoanPronto.com, 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. That's LoanPronto.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Joint replacement surgery is always a tough decision, but relief from chronic pain may be just around the corner. Dr. George Barra here, and there's a lot to consider to make sure you get the proper diagnosis and best path back to the range of motion and mobility you had. Age, lifestyle, and overall health all play a part. Let the team at Barrier Orthopedics give you a full analysis to help you make the best decision. Log on to barrierorthopedics.com or call the office to make an appointment. With offices across Jacksonville and ready to help you feel good again, we'll get you back on the road to recovery at Barrier Orthopedics.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Dan Hicken with a game changer. I've tested the field, and Checkmate Coatings is my new go-to for durable, jaw-dropping floor coatings. Better play, better results.
I'm Brendan from Checkmate Coatings. Our precision coatings make your floors the MVP of any space.
Slam dunk your floors at checkmatecoatings.com. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Get closer to nature.
Trying to get close to these bucks out here.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Faber, and Captain Kirk Walls. The Nimnicht Outdoor Show. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Saturday morning, 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Out here, you'll find a community of hardworking creators with loyal followers, along with proud moments worth sharing. And farm to table, well, that's just supper. And whether it's a raised garden bed, acres of land, or something for your animals, we've got all the supplies and are happy to share a little know-how.
Welcome to Tractor Supply. Into life out here.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's the 18th annual Coastal Equipment Googan Open live here at Hidden Hills. Taylor Dahl is here. I'm Lauren Brooks, still in Denmark, filling in for RJ Saunders back at 1010XL headquarters, making it all happen. Dylan, are you headed out this way after the show?
No, we got football practice.
Oh, okay.
Out in Baldwin, not Jaguars.
Yes. Not just practice, yeah. Well, good luck with that. And I have a feeling those guys need to be hydrated just like everybody out here on the golf course as well. All right, Taylor, it's time now for the Terminix Pests of the Day. As always, you can find them online at Terminix.com, Terminix. And there's a reason that they handle the pest control, the termites, the mosquito control at my house, at Everbank Stadium, at ViStar Ballpark, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, all of the great event venues around town. They are truly amazing when it comes to customer service. So I highly recommend our friends at Terminix. All right, so I just found this story so incredibly sad. Mark Scheffler's dad, Brad, the hockey player, passed away unexpectedly yesterday, just hours before Game 6. He plays in the game. He immediately told his coach he was going to play in the game. He plays in the game. He scores the first goal. But his team still loses, so the pest for me, the Winnipeg Jets, somebody else has to step up. They lost 2-1, and they lost the series to the Stars. And, yes, we're talking hockey here, but... So I'm not emotionally invested normally in hockey. I don't have a team by any means.
Stories like this help you a little bit.
Sure, but you got to step up. Somebody else has to score a goal, and they took it to overtime, and so just losing the series, like I said, but also losing that game when the only person on your team that scores is the guy whose dad had just died, and it wasn't expected whatsoever. So the Winnipeg Jets. I never thought I'd make the Winnipeg Jets my pest of the day, but here we are.
Those stories are always add an extra emotional level to something when you're rooting.
Sure.
And especially if you have no interest in either that's going on, it adds something for you to cheer for or cheer against, whatever the case may be. But that one, the hockey so far playoffs have been really, really good. Other than the Panthers Maple Leafs game yesterday,
6-1 for the Panthers. That one was over.
Panthers fans, I'm sure, were like, that was fantastic.
Of course, yeah. So now in the NHL, we have Panthers at the Carolina Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Finals. Game 1 tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. And then on the other side, the Western Conference Finals, the Edmonton Oilers at the Dallas Stars. Game 1 of that one, Wednesday, 8 p.m. I'm not going to pretend to tell you that I know anything about. I know a little bit about the Panthers and maybe a little bit about the Hurricanes. I know nothing about the Oilers and the Stars. But of course, like whether it's the NBA, when it's the NHL, even for people who aren't diehard fans, they start to follow the storylines when there's only 4 teams left.
Yeah, it gets a little easier once it starts to get to that point for people who maybe don't follow all year. And I think also when it's the Panthers, obviously coming off a Stanley Cup win, and us being in Florida, it adds a little bit of an element to that because you saw the Lightning win multiple Stanley Cups, and then now you have the chance to possibly see the Panthers win multiple. So that's meaning Florida having a lot of Stanley Cups in the last several
people from
years.
Canada especially have to absolutely hate that.
Especially because they can't. Like, it's been so long since a Canadian team has won the Cup. They're like, what the heck? And my friend's a Maple Leafs fan, and he was not very happy last night. But he also was like, this is what they do. It's just, it almost gets to the point where you expect it to happen, and that sucks. And I feel like we know that feeling of having a team where you feel like something happens. It felt like that with the Cubs when they were finally made it to the World Series. I was like, something's going to happen and they're going to lose because that's just like how it is in the world of being a Chicago Cubs fan. And so when they broke that, it feels really good, but it's hard to do. And that's what things like this, when you talk about the NHL, one of my favorite things about the NHL is kind of the parody of it. And you have seen a lot of teams, even though you've seen some back-to-back. The Hawks had the 3 and the 7, and the Lightning won a couple, and now maybe the Panthers. But in between that, you see a lot of different teams win, and I love that because it does give you a chance to see all sorts of different players that you probably wouldn't watch on a normal basis if you're not a true hockey fan, if you're a fan of another team. And I feel like the NBA, I was reading an article earlier about how like NBA dynasties feel like they're gone and we just don't really have the dynasties in the NBA that we used to. I personally like that. Like, I like seeing different teams win year to year. I like feeling like multiple teams have a chance to win a championship, and it doesn't feel like it's going to be, other than when it was the Bulls with three. Obviously, I'm not going to go against that. But when it came to like the war, it gets tiring if you're not a fan of those teams watching the same teams win all the time.
Yeah, the league itself, though, I think loves. Like, I think
they love the dynasties.
Loved the Cavs versus the Warriors. For 3 years in a running. All right, when we come back, I'm going to tell you a little bit about, because I'm assuming you were at Rockville and not paying attention to college softball and college baseball. So I'll fill you in on all that happened in that world. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Share your life with 1010XL. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Oh, wait. I'm going to take a picture and post it on Facebook. What? Hashtag
1010XL.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. Did you know that mosquito bites could lead to heartworm for your dog or cat? When mosquitoes show up, pet parents like me want them gone. Terminix takes mosquitoes down fast, just like they did at our house for our pup. Terminix knows that pets are a part of the family, and they do what it takes to help protect them. When mosquitoes show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a mosquito problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
Call 904-500-COOL. Ideal Conditions.
Want to support a locally and veteran-owned company? If you need a new AC, we should be your first and only call. Ideal Conditions keeps you cool. Just ask your AC. Call 904-500-COOL or visit idealconditionsjacks.com.
Call 904-500-COOL.
Honk if you see us. Call for service.
Ideal Conditions.
Idealconditionsjacks.com.
Frank Frangie here. I was talking to a buddy the other day. His HOA told him his old fence had to go. I said, man, call Coil Fencing. They've been around the block since 1927. Heck, they probably built half the fences in Jacksonville. They do it all. Tough chain link for security. Those fancy aluminum ones the HOA actually likes. Nearly a century of keeping yards safe and looking good. If you need a fence, call Coil. You can trust the folks at Coil. 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. COYLE Jacks.com.
Lauren Brooks here for Novus Glass of Jacksonville. We've all had to deal with a cracked windshield, so next time go to a local company to get your windshield repaired for free at Novus Glass. And now Novus Glass is the only place in Jacksonville where you can get Turbo Tint. Turbo Tint looks amazing and it will keep your ride cool and comfortable. Turbo Tint blocks up to 99% of harmful UV rays, so all of us down here in the Sunshine State need Turbo Tint, especially on days like today, and Novus Glass is the only place you can get it. Book online at orangepark.turbotint.com. That's orangepark.turbotint.com.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday. The local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold and silver and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at almost $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more value at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Joe C. for Preferred Roofing, reminding you your roof is more than just felt and shingles. It's a system that not only keeps your home dry, but also impacts your heating and cooling bills. Preferred Roofing and Construction is a GAF Master Elite roofing contractor lauded for having the ability to educate and inform homeowners on their options. Why GAF and Preferred Roofing? They're veteran-owned and operated with ties to Duval for decades. A family business ready to make sure your family has a good roof over its head. Log on, preferredroofingjax.com.
Hacker here, and let's talk sincerity. You know, there's a big difference between someone tossing you a casual, hey, how you doing, and genuinely asking, no, really, how are you doing? At Awaken 180, I felt that sincerity every single week while dropping 122 pounds, and I still feel it every month in free maintenance for life. Sure, seeing that number plunge on the scale was incredible, but what truly pushed me across the goal line? My amazing Awaken 180 coaches. They coached me up like I was prepping for draft day, always in my corner, sincerely invested in my success, and check this out. I'm going on a cruise in a couple of weeks, complete with formal night. Now, normally, cameras and I have a strained relationship. I hated taking pictures, but thanks to Awaken 180, the camera and I have made peace. No more ducking photos. Want results you can actually keep? Do what we all did and call 844-346-1800 or book online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Don't miss the Bari Breakdown with Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime, Wednesdays around 3:20 for the latest in sports injuries. From all the big names in the game, who's MIA, who's coming back from injury. Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime, Wednesdays at 3:20.
The ultimate Pink Floyd experience is back. Rick Floyd returns, celebrating the 50th anniversary of Pink Floyd's legendary Wish You Were Here album. It's Brit Floyd, May 20th at Florida Theater. Tickets on sale now at floridatheater.com.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Taylor, are you going to cool down with your red hot Cubs?
Oh, yes. Let's go, Cubs. They got the sweep of the White Sox. I was pumped. It was a fun stat that Pete Crow Armstrong, who is probably my favorite Cub right now, and probably most Cubs fans' favorite Cub right now because he's incredible. And thank you, Dan Higgins Mets, for him. But he scored more runs in the series against the White Sox than the White Sox as a team scored in this series. He is just on fire. It's incredible. He, I think, has the second, he's the second most valuable player in baseball right now when it comes to hitting, when it comes to fielding, when it comes to base running. He's just so much fun to watch, and it gives a lot of Javi Baez vibes. But Javi struck out a lot, and Javi kind of struggled at times at the plate, and so you had a little bit of frustrations in that sense. But he brings that Javi crazy magical energy with being able to just hit incredibly well right now. So yeah, the Cubs are a really fun team to watch right now, but still only a game or two ahead of the Cardinals still, which is a little frustrating because I feel like they've been playing really well, and then I turn around and the Cardinals are just breathing down their neck a little bit. But they had a really hard schedule to start the season, and I think handled that as well as possible, and now get into a little bit of the easier stretch. Obviously, the White Sox, the Marlins, some of those teams they get to face now a little bit easier than the Dodgers and the Padres and the Diamondbacks and the Mets. So
2 games ahead of the Cardinals after this weekend. Cubs record 28-19, Cardinals record 26-21. It's not so fast, my friends, what the Marlins would say after taking 2 of 3 but from the Rays over the weekend, by the way.
Oh.
Down there in Miami.
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. That's fine. And apologies accepted. All right, let's get into college baseball. So I spent a huge majority of the weekend watching college softball and college baseball. Of course, lots of local teams are excelling in those sports. So FSU surprisingly did drop 2 out of 3 at home to North Carolina. Now, we know North Carolina is the second best team in the country, so that was tough sledding. But still, I thought in Tallahassee, Florida would win that series. They did not. But the ACC baseball tournament begins tomorrow in Durham. FSU is a 2nd seed. They await the winner of Duke and either Louisville or Pitt. That game will be Friday at 3 p.m. Florida baseball. The cool part about Senior Day, Taylor, both Bobby Bozer and Ty Evans, the only 2 positional players that were honored as seniors, both homered.
Oh.
And driven multiple runs. But I
That's
thought that
perfect.
was
I love that.
I thought that was super cool. And Florida won its 6th straight
I saw that.
series, which is just incredible.
This is what they do.
Alabama. Thursday and Saturday. They lost on Friday. Another story similar to that hockey one we were talking about earlier. So Florida has a guy named Blake Sear who transferred from Miami to Florida this past year. What I didn't know, and I just discovered it this past weekend, he transferred because his father passed away February of 2024, also unexpectedly, and his dad was a diehard Gators fan.
Aww.
So he wanted to spend his final year of playing, assuming it's his final year, with COVID. I never can track these things, but either way, that's why he transferred from Miami to Florida. He's having a great season, so I just thought that was really special. He's an outfielder. He said, if he was still here, I know he'd be loving watching me play for Florida.
Oh, I love that.
I know. I just thought that was really sweet. And
those are moments when you are appreciative that they can transfer and play right away in sports now because of circumstances like that.
Absolutely. We've talked so much about Aiden King from Bishop Snyder. He should be the SEC Freshman of the Year. Once again, yesterday, he pitched phenomenal, or Saturday pitched phenomenally. He pitched 6 1/3 frames with 1 earned run allowed and 8 strikeouts on 94 pitches, which, okay, get this. In the last 4 starts that Aiden King has, he's given up just 2 earned runs, and his ERA is .87 with 22 strikeouts.
Oh my goodness!
Like he is a freshman, true freshman, unbelievable. The SEC baseball tournament begins in Hoover tomorrow. I've been to Hoover, Alabama, so many times. It's a fun spot. Florida is a 10 seed and takes on number 15 South Carolina tomorrow at 5:30. Did you hear what I just said? Florida is a 10 seed in the SEC baseball tournament. Are you kidding me? That's how deep this league is. That's ridiculous. The winner.
What is the
play.
seeding? What does it look? What is the order of the seedings? Do you have those?
Texas is number 1. I want to say LSU is 2. Either LSU or Arkansas are 2, and then the other is 3.
Okay.
And then I forget now who's 4.
What is Bama?
Bama is. You know what? I've got it right here, so I'll look at it in just a second. But the winner of that Florida-South Carolina game will play the 7th seed Ole Miss Wednesday at 5:30. And I wanted to mention all of these baseball games, of course, are on 10:10 a.m. All right, so number 1, Texas. Number 2, Arkansas. Number 3, LSU. Number 4, Vanderbilt.
Okay.
And then you asked about Alabama. Alabama will start the tournament off playing Missouri tomorrow morning at 10:30. You have to figure the time difference because Hoover, Alabama is Central Time. So 10:30 Eastern, you'll have Alabama, Missouri. So while we're on the air tomorrow, we will get to watch Oklahoma and Kentucky. And the winner of that game will face Georgia on May 21st. So that is Wednesday. That game is 30 minutes after that first game. So basically, if you like college baseball, it's all happening this week between the ACC and the SEC tournaments. One of the guys we talked about so much on the show last year, Jack Caglione. Cags is now headed to AAA. He was just promoted, and he will be joining the Texas, or he has been the Texas League RBI. Now he's heading to Omaha. I wanted to slide in that Omaha part because maybe that's a good sign for the Gator baseball team to maybe host a regional and then make the trip to Omaha once again.
Yeah. The little Florida love out there in Omaha.
I would like that. You were also at Rockville when this was happening, but the college softball of the weekend, we talked a lot about UNF last week and the fact that they made it to their first ever NCAA tournament. So, and you have family that's South
Carolina.
Yeah, big South Carolina fans, right?
They went there and
Okay, yeah. So on Friday, UNF beat Virginia 2-1. Then they lost in the winners bracket to South Carolina 3-0. Then UNF eliminated Virginia by winning 6-5 on Saturday. So yesterday was a game. Had they beaten South Carolina the first time, they would have had to play again yesterday. Yeah. But unfortunately, they lost 8-0 to South Carolina. Allison Benning had a phenomenal weekend. Incredible. She had 10 strikeouts, 9 hits allowed through a little over 17 innings. 315 pitches is what she threw over the weekend.
My goodness!
And she went 4 for 8 batting average with 4 walks and a run scored. She now has 19 home runs, 25 wins in the circle. So, amazing career.
Talking about Cags.
Exactly.
Side of the world.
Absolutely. When they pulled her yesterday from the game, she was so emotional, and it made me emotional. And
is she
so
a
I just wanted
senior?
to shout her out. Yeah. Her career is over. When it comes to Florida softball, Florida run ruled the opponent in all 3 games. Florida has never done that before. But that, of course, made, if you're a Florida fan watching
very excited.
The games, very stress-free.
You get to relax. Just watch
on
the game.
Saturday.
Not quite like your basketball tournament.
Correct, yeah. The opposite of the basketball tournament. Although, obviously, there's still the super regionals for college softball and then potentially the Women's College World Series. But watching Saturday with some friends, and Jocelyn Erickson hit a grand slam. And those are always just so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
And when it comes to softball, I wanted to note Liberty took down number 1 Texas A&M over the weekend. So A&M eliminated by Liberty, which is wild. So here are the top 4 seeds in college softball. The now highest seed is Oklahoma. They're the 2nd seed. They play host to Alabama. So you've got SEC on SEC action there. The 3rd seeded Florida Gators will host the Georgia Bulldogs. Also, SEC versus SEC. That game, by the way, Friday morning at 11 a.m. Arkansas plays host to Ole Miss. Once again, SEC versus SEC. And then Florida State, the 5th seed, will host Texas Tech in the Super Regional. The first game in that one, Thursday, 7 p.m. And so you will have those 16 teams playing 3-game series to determine who advances to the Women's College World Series. It's exciting stuff.
It is. I love it. I wanted to read a little note that just popped up on my Twitter. This is a little bit off topic, but it's something we've talked a lot about, I feel like, the last month or so. And so UNC has sold out its allotment of the 20,000 season tickets for Bill Belichick's first season as a head coach. And it just made me laugh because before I went on vacation, we were having conversations of like, does he even coach one game? Like, does he make it to that first game?
It seems like he's going to now.
Yeah,
it feels like it, unless some
it's
other
quieted
crazy
down
stuff
a little
happens.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And then back to the Jaguars. Look, again, we appreciate people like Jamal St. Cyr who attend practice and constantly tweet stuff out. I'm not going to read every one of these tweets as far as the negative things that have happened, but it just does feel like there have been quite a few drops and maybe people not being on the same page, but that's what this time of year is for, is to iron those things out.
Yeah, and we've had that conversation. It's going to take a little bit of time. There's a lot of new pieces on this offense, and that's what the offensive line is pretty much all new. The majority of the line is new. You have still Etienne and Tank, but there's another running back now kind of in the mix, and you're maybe two, yeah, and you're talking about where their roles are, and there's been obviously the rumors of the Jaguars maybe not being as high on Etienne as some other people, and is he even on the team once the season starts? So that's going to be a storyline we'll follow all year. Christian Kirk's not here. Evan Ingram's not here. All of these weapons that Trevor's had for the last couple years are no longer here. So you're learning a lot of new things. And then even the time with Brian Thomas Jr. this last year before Trevor got hurt, it was Brian Thomas Jr. was still trying to kind of finding his way. Press Taylor, Doug, whoever was calling plays weren't really using BTJ in the right ways. So there's a lot of newness when it comes to things figuring it out. And that's exactly what OTAs are for. That's learning this playbook. It's learning these new offensive schemes. It's learning the new players that you're working with. And also a lot of these guys coming off of injuries and haven't thrown the football. And I'm sure have tossed around a little bit, but like in an environment like this, have not thrown the football in a while.
Well, and Trevor has been limited a little bit, because of that left shoulder injury. It looks like he's fully healthy out there. Again, we're not able to be out there. We're here at the Googan, but that's what it seems like. And practice is over now, as I can see Trevor Lawrence is meeting with the media. His hair is very wet, so
it's very hot outside.
You can tell that even though it's not, it's non-contact, it's still, they're working really hard in this heat. But to your larger point, it's going to take a while for all of the different guys to settle in. Now, the flip side of that would be someone would say, well, there's a new defensive coordinator and there are some new pieces on this Jaguars defense. Why are they playing so well? As we know, whether it's OTAs, whether it's training camp, the defense usually starts off better than the offense. The install is just, that's the way it is. It takes longer for the offense to end up clicking. We, of course, only care about this stuff if it's happening in September. If there's drops, interceptions, and fumbles in September, then by the Jaguars versus the Panthers, hey, if the Panthers want to throw some interceptions,
fumble.
if they want to fumble, if they want to have drops, by all means. The offense as a whole, it'll be interesting to listen to the station the rest of the day too from the other people who have been out there to see, has it been feeling like there's a disconnect? Did it feel sloppy? Did it just feel like they was off by a couple inches?
Yeah.
Like, how quickly can some of this stuff get fixed?
Yeah, and I do think, too, when it comes to your point about the defense, and because that is something we always talk about, the defense kind of clicks a little bit more earlier, but also the defense for the most part is the same right now. And that's what you made, like Jordan Lewis having that new piece. But when you're talking about Darnell Savage was here last year, and Jarian was here last year, and Josh Hines-Allen was here last year, and a lot of the guys that we're talking about defensively were all still starting last year. So yes, a new scheme, but you still have players that did play together for the majority. Right now, offensively, it feels like there's a lot of newness on the line and kind of all over the place.
Absolutely. All right, let's end our show and say hello to the next one.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Taylor, a certain person that's about to join us now, Matt Hayes, regrets ever sending me a text about any Gator baseball or softball.
Never.
Because now when Florida wins, he gets texts from me. And there was a lot of winning this weekend. Thank you, Florida softball and baseball.
Nice weekend.
What did you send a mean text?
No, not
send a mean Florida text?
He just sent a text about Florida being victorious. And now every time Florida wins something, I send him a text.
But I have a new idea now of mean texts and / mean girls. I was told by a friend to watch. I don't know if you guys have watched this. The Mormon.
I have not.
Real Mormon Housewives or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. I've seen like clips of it, but I haven't watched it.
Good
it's
God
wild.
Almighty.
Well, because they have multiple wives, right? The sister wives, is that what it is?
No.
They're just mean.
It's like the Housewives of New Jersey, but
they're Mormons.
But they're Mormons, and it's
on like Hulu or something.
Yes.
Is it? Yeah.
Yes.
I've seen clips of it. But
I will never watch that.
I can't stop watching it.
It's like a car wreck.
It's
car
so
crash.
bad. I mean,
I'm shocked that you're spending your precious time away from work.
I'm actually doing it kind of like while I'm working too.
So that makes more sense to me. What did you go ahead?
Oh no, this was a little bit off topic, but I was talking to you a little bit because when I was at Rockville, one of the things I kept thinking about with you when I was at Rockville is I had so much good food while I was there.
Right.
And I have like a weird kind of, I like to experiment with foods and like do kind of funky stuff, but I'm like, Matt, you've got to try this. Right. So they had these foot-long corn dogs, but they were like covered in chili. So they like covered them in chili and then had like crunched Funyuns on them. And it was the best thing I have ever eaten. I was like, Matt would laugh at me, but also enjoy it so much.
I would like that actually. It sounds pretty good, believe it or not.
I'm always down to try.
Depending on the chili.
It was so good. It was like they hit it out of the park.
Was there beans in the chili?
I think it was more of just like a meaty chili because you had to be able to kind of like dip it easier.
You're talking dirty to me now.
Yeah.
In the words of Hacker, yes. We're talking dirty to me now.
Did you attend the OTA prior to coming here to Hidden Hills?
It was, just crazy hot. First one, you expect a lot of drops and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there where you're like, all right, this is interesting. De'Ami Brown being one, looks really fluid. Looks like a guy that can help them, yeah. And he's playing on the outside, just like they said. Like, I'm not breaking news there.
Sure.
The idea was he's going to be outside and Travis Hunter's going to be in the slot. So, yeah, it's interesting.
Was this your first time or second time seeing Travis Hunter in person?
First.
Okay, and what do you think about him?
Skinny, and I hope he protects himself. Like last year, I thought, all right, Brian Thompson was a little thicker.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, he's not as thick as I thought he was. And you put him up against Travis Hunter right now, Brian Thomas looks like, Mike Evans right now. So he's a slight guy.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. He's going to have to stay healthy. He's going to have to protect himself. They're going to have to do things to protect him. I think you can protect him. You can do various things. We'll talk about this at the show too. You can run bunch sets where DBs can't get their hands on him, because once they get their hands on him, then it's going to be a problem.
Maybe he needs to eat some of Taylor's
You'll do motion.
Yeah, I'll get him some chili corn dogs.
you do motion and stuff like that, or you can eat a lot of those chili corn dogs. Yeah,
that's one way to put weight in.
with
or
the
weight on.
Funyuns.
All right, Joe has the week off, but you and Leon holding down the fort?
Yes, Leon and I, and we have the quarterback guru coming at 3.
Nice.
Sounds good. Thanks, Matt. We'll be listening.
Thanks, ladies.
All right, there he goes. By the way, speaking of Denny Thompson, I saw Anthony Richardson put on a lot of weight, like good weight, over the off season. So, in addition to the tattoo, obviously, has been in the news for that.
I saw there was posts again of Patrick Mahomes' dad bod, and I was like, can we just stop posting his dad bod every off season, because it doesn't matter. It does not matter.
He doesn't have to be ripped to be successful. All right, fun stuff today out here at the 18th annual Gooan tournament. Thanks again to Coastal Equipment and Jack O'Brien, the commissioner. Hope everyone has a blast today out there on the golf course. For Taylor O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for Mia O'Brien, for Dylan Denmark, filling in for RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks. XO Primetime comes up next. These heels are made for talk, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
Serving Jags fans since 2007.